Ronen, I want to talk to you about jumping off on like I guess the quote unquote attitude adjustment that Gossard and Ament had after Andrew Wood died. And I want to connect this to Eddie Vedder, because when Vedder joined the band, when he was in San Diego, I mean, he was languishing in all these phony Chili Pepper, bad funk rock bands, right? And he got the call up, he joined the band. And one thing Pearl Jam detractors have always accused Eddie Vedder of is being contrived, being calculated in his, his dark, grim, image. And me personally, I've always felt, yeah, so what? Yes. I mean, he's an artist. He's a serious artist. Pearl Jam's a serious band making serious music, and his artistry comes from his soul. But at the same time, it's show business. What's wrong with putting up a little bit of an image? Because Andrew Wood was like a Freddie Mercury disciple. Vedder's coming into a band where the old singer was that. And if I'm Vedder, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be the 180-degree opposite. If he was Freddie Mercury, I'm going to be Jim Morrison, and I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that kind of image adjustment. I think it adds to the art. Me personally, what do you think, Ronen?
You're basically getting, I think, to the heart of like why people found Eddie Vedder so fascinating and frustrating and still, an object of interest 30 years later. It's, like in rock and roll, it's this weird contradiction, isn't it? It's like, David Bowie's name was not David Bowie. Joe Strummer's name was Joe Strummer. But, these were all personas. And yet, in Joe Strummer's case and Eddie Vedder's case, like the reason why people connect with them is because they're basically bleeding into the microphone. It's their authenticity and it's their heart. So you say to yourself, how can this guy like put so much of his heart on the line singing Black, and yet how can he be such a phony, like in terms of like whether he likes videos or not? I think like I didn't really write about this because I this would all be speculation, but I think like like in a weird way, like George W. Bush was like a master at being underestimated. Like every time somebody said that he was dumb, like he got his way. Ed is kind of that way too. Like, I think like he kind of plays up his like whatever, like fake idiocy a little bit, but he's really quite shrewd. Like, I think like that, like, he's a child actor. He knows how he comes across on camera. And I think that like, especially at that time, the early 90s, you weren't really expected to be like a super media savvy celebrity, like when Bob Dylan was like, ducking and playing with all these reporters, that that celebrities aren't supposed to do that. You're supposed to be like nice and smile and just answer your thing. And I think like Ed was just doing his version of that.
And I think there's something to be said also, like for in all cultures in traditional folk art, the mask allows you to be more honest.
Yep.
And I think that's what a lot of people, who accuse Vedder of this don't get, that he's being as honest as he possibly can. And he can't do this as Eddie Mueller. He's got to do it as Eddie Vedder.